Hello everyone, welcome to Mod Spotlight for FTB quests. If you want the full documentation, it'll be the first thing in the description, and also it'll be in the pinned comment. I fully expect to miss something, so if I do, it'll be on that link. So the first thing you want to do whenever you join a multiplayer server is you want to go up to My Team and create a party. You can name your party whatever you want, and I guess you can have a description if you want. Then you click Create Party, and then you can go back into that menu and you can invite players. So you can invite your friends. Alternatively, if your friends already have a team, they can invite you to theirs. This allows you to share quest progression as well as a few other things in the FTB mods. So it's always nice to have your teammates or you're running your mod pack with. And since this is for sharing your quest progress, you don't really need to do this in single player. Next, you can access your quest by clicking on this icon in your top left of your inventory, or you can set a keybind for it in the FTB quest section under the open quests. I like to use Z. Modpack authors have some control over how this looks, so if your quest book doesn't look exactly like mine, that's probably why, but the general ideas should be the same. And under that as well, there are different shapes for the quests. These don't mean anything by default, but your Modpack author might use them to signify important quests or something like that. So quests are broken up into chapters, and those chapters can be broken up into chapter groups, so that you don't have a whole list of a whole bunch of open chapters for you. The ways you can navigate in these is you can click and drag to move around your menu. You can left click on them to open them up, and then use the scroll bar to scroll in and out. Some quests may require other quests to be done first, which is known as the dependency, and they'll show this little arrow mark, which means that basically this quest requires this quest to be done first. So quests usually have a few sections. They have the task section, the reward section, they have a name, and then they have like a description down here sometimes if there's a description available. So on the left-hand side, you can see your tasks, which is what is required. So for instance, I need to have a honey block in my inventory and submit a honeycomb. So these are item tasks, which, so the left one is a detect task, so it will detect automatically if it's in my inventory. And the honeycomb is a submit task. So if I give myself a honey block, that task automatically completes. And if I give myself a honeycomb block, that doesn't complete. So I have to go in and I have to actually submit it. And then that completes the quest. So in an item task, you can actually look up the recipe by using your recipe mod. Left click on it to look up the recipes for it. There's also quests for XP levels. And then there's a bunch of other ones like, for instance, visiting a dimension, or you have to get a certain statistic, or you have to kill a certain entity. You have to go to a certain location. A checkmark quest is just click the checkmark. These checkmark quests are usually used for information, so they'll give you a description of like something in the mod pack that you might want to have information for. You have to get a certain advancement. You have to look at a certain block for observation. You have to visit a specific biome. You have to find a specific structure. You have to enter a certain stage. Generally, the stage will be unlocked by another reward from a different quest, and this is only if the Modpack developer is using the game stages mod. There's a fluid submit, and there is a forge energy submit, as well as a custom, which just kind of seems to me like it's any of these other ones, but I don't really know for sure. I couldn't find enough information in the documentation, so there might be more to that. I'm not sure. So the energy task you can't actually submit through this screen. You have to submit it with a task screen. If you go ahead and go into this by shift right clicking, then you can click your task, and then you can choose, let's choose the 1 million FE. And then we'll go ahead and click check. And so now it's going to request 1 million FE. So as we pump FE into our task screen, it'll go up. And then once it's complete, it will basically complete the objective for us. So we can see that it's going up at the same speed. And there we have the task complete. You can also use the task screen to automatically submit items and fluids. This is usually good if the task requires like 1,000 of an item or something like that. You can just pump it straight in with hoppers or any other item transport. The textures on these can be changed and they can be made unbreakable, which is good for map makers. So the reward types are a specific item, a choice reward, a random reward, a loot reward, a command, XP, XP levels, grant an advancement. You can also add stages this way, but that's only if you have the game stages mod once again. So usually everyone on the team can claim the reward, but if it's got blue text like this, that means it's a team reward, and only one person on the team can claim it. So for instance, we can claim these blocks of diamonds. We can claim this choice reward, which means we get to choose which one of these we want. So let's say we want spruce logs, we can get that. And then we have a random reward, which will randomly roll which one of these we want. And it gave us spruce logs again. And then we have a loot reward, which is very similar to the random reward, but I think this is how you set up the loot crates. And on that one, we got oak logs. And then we have a command, which, we'll run a command. This one just says this is a reward message. You can get XP or XP levels. you can be granted a advancement. And then, like I said, there's a tier reward, and that one just says this reward can only be claimed by one member of the team. If you have a lot of rewards to claim, you can click this button in the top right, which will collect all of the rewards across all of your chapters. So be careful, because that could just spew a bunch of items all over the place. So do that with caution. There are generally 5 tiers of loot crates, which are common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. But Modpack authors can often add more, depending on whatever needs they have. And you can open them by holding them in your hand and right-clicking, and they will give you random loot from the loot table that is made by the Modpack author. If you're getting information from this video, please leave a like button down below. It makes me realize that people want more of this content. And if you want to see more of my mod spotlights and other videos, hit the subscribe button down below. Okay, so some information for Modpack developers. If you want to edit your quests, you're going to type in /FTB quests _editing _mode, and that will put you into editing mode, which then you can go in and you can click add here to add a chapter or a chapter group. And then you can click add in the chapter group to add another chapter. And then basically you can just play around with it. That'll be the best way for you to learn. But you right click to add a quest. You get to start with your tasks. So for instance, if you want to require polished granite, there you go. And then you can click add to add more requirements. You can right click on here to edit it to require more or other stuff like that. You can right click on your chapters to edit those as well and change their groups and all that stuff. And same thing with your chapter groups. Basically, right clicking anywhere will let you edit things. On a quest, you can require dependencies, you can make it repeatable, and all this other stuff. I think most of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory, and if not, it will give you information like this dialog box. Always make sure you click the accept in the top right to accept that you're making the changes. Down here in your bottom right-hand corner, when you're in the quest menu, it's your settings, which you can set your reward tables. You can save a whole bunch of stuff. You can reset your progress, so everything gets reset, and then you can complete everything instantly. And you can basically mess with all that stuff too. If you want to make one of your reward tables, you just click add, you give it a name, and then you can edit it, and you can add different items or whatever else you want. And then if you want that to be a loot crate, you just click that. And now that that's greened out, that means that it is a loot crate. If you got information from this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below. Helps me to know what videos people like to see. And don't forget to subscribe to see more of my future Minecraft content. Saturday, I will be putting out the next part of my full Mechanism 1.18 spotlight.